Hello everyone, my name is Dragon Llewellyn Fuzzbottom Jr., and I am a raccoon dragon, as far as you know. Now, I have some things to say about the recent DLC announcement for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. First off, let's go over what this actually is. It is essentially a season pass, and it costs $20. The actual game costs $60. So we're basically paying a third the price of the game for additional content. Now, does the content we receive equate to a third of the content of the game? Well, let's find out. So, for signing up for the Season Pass, you get a few bonus treasures in the starting area, which include quote-unquote useful items, as well as exclusive clothing. And I think the clothing is basically just a shirt with the Nintendo Switch logo. Yeah, way to keep that immersion, Nintendo. In case you can't tell, I'm giving you a sarcastic thumbs up. Anyway, the meat of the DLC comes in two packages. The first is during the summer, and I'll be honest, it kinda sucks. Well, there's a new Cave of Trials challenge, which, okay, I enjoyed the Cave of Trials in Twilight Princess, but I'm not really that interested. Twilight Princess HD had a wolf Cave of Trials added to it, and despite the coolness of the wolf amiibo, I decided it wasn't worth it. The first pack also includes a new hard mode. First off, the game already has a hard mode, so if anything, this is probably just an expert mode. Second, why in the holy gosh are you locking a difficulty setting behind DLC? The only way this is a reasonable purchase is if it altered the content of the game. Like, maybe it would alter enemy placements, so now you're fighting Dodongos instead of Moblins in the first area or something. But if all it does is make you take more damage or something like that, you have failed pretty hard so far in making this worth $20. And the last item in pack number 1 doesn't help either. It is, quote-unquote, an additional map feature. What is this even? It could be something cool, but it could also be something lame. Like, maybe you could use your map to alter the landscape? That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe it just allows you to draw on the map, which I feel is going to be the more likely situation. It'll probably be something lame. So yeah, the first DLC pack, not worth it. The second DLC pack, on the other hand, that is what most of us will want, and that comes out in the holiday season. In it, we get a new story and an additional dungeon. What the story is, we don't know, but I think it'll actually be something cool. Maybe it'll be like an epilogue, or maybe it'll take place before the start of the game. Maybe it'll be an optional quest that you could find during your adventure. Or it might just be something you select from the main menu. What would be really cool is if we could play as Zelda. A lot of people were hoping for the opportunity to play as a female Link in this game, and Nintendo knows it. They've actually commented on it before. So giving us a side story with a playable Zelda would definitely be providing some wish fulfillment. Oh, and also, the last DLC pack has quote-unquote additional challenges. Once again, it's as vague as everything else. Might be some optional subquests, or could be minigames, I don't know. Anyway, that is all the DLC. Again, it costs $20, which is a third the price of the actual game. And while the stuff in the final DLC pack is pretty cool, I don't think it's worth the price. The actual game has 4 main dungeons and over 100 mini dungeons. This DLC is giving us 1 dungeon and some vague other stuff. So, going by what Nintendo has told us about the DLC so far, I think the DLC is worth $12 at the most. And no, as far as we know, none of the content can be purchased on its own. It is all or nothing. That could change later, but we'll see. I don't know, maybe the rest of the DLC will surprise us with its coolness, but I'm not getting my hopes up. By the way, that is just one problem with this DLC. Another problem is the timing. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild doesn't come out for another 3 weeks, and Nintendo has already told us that when we buy the game, we're not actually done buying the game. It's kind of unfortunate if you're getting it for the Switch. You're going to be paying $300 for that thing, plus $60 for Zelda. If you were planning on also getting an eShop game for $20, congratulations, that $20 is going to have to go into Zelda instead. And yes, I know, you don't have to buy the DLC, but if you're as OCD about DLC as I am, you're probably going to want to buy it. Now, you could argue that you could just buy it later, but again, the bonus content for buying the DLC is found in the starting area of the game. So if you are already playing the game and then you buy the DLC, that bonus content is already useless to you. Granted, the bonus content isn't really worth much to begin with, so I guess whatever on that. Still, there is another problem with the early announcement of the DLC. Because Nintendo announced the DLC before the game is even out, people are of course jumping to conclusions and claiming that we're paying for cut content. It's like, if Nintendo is telling us about the extra content before the game is out, that must mean that it is already finished and they're just being greedy by not including it in the game. Okay, let's be real here. I do not believe that to actually be the case. While a lot of the DLC admittedly does sound like it could be included at launch pretty easily, like the hard mode and the map feature, I feel like the additional story and dungeon should be enough evidence that Nintendo has not withheld content from the game. I mean, the additional story is likely going to include a bit of effort on Nintendo's part, as they have to get the script written and get the voice actors back to record more dialogue. And I can't imagine that dungeons are very easy to design. I mean, if they were, Zelda games would probably have a much shorter development time than they do. So, I believe that the Zelda game we are getting is already the full experience, even without the DLC. Nintendo has put a lot of time and effort focusing on giving us that full experience, and it is only now that the game has gone gold that they can actually plan out that DLC. This stuff is going to take some time to put together, which is why the bulk of it isn't coming out until the holiday season. That said, Nintendo's DLC announcement is definitely too soon. Nintendo has received a lot of backlash for the announcement, and I really feel that it would not have gone over so poorly had they waited until after the game's release to announce the DLC. Had they done that, people would not have accused Nintendo for withholding content. Well, not reasonably so anyway. And for anybody who is getting this for the Switch, having the DLC come later would have given their wallets a chance to recover. Along with that, I think it's entirely possible that the reason so much of the content is vague is because even Nintendo isn't sure what they're giving us. I mean, after all, the first pack doesn't even come out until this summer. I think had they waited before announcing the DLC, maybe they would have more to tell us. So, the question remains, had they not announced the DLC until later, would I personally be okay with it? Well, yeah. I mean, while the content they've advertised so far seems a little dubious, Nintendo has not done a bad job with their DLC so far. Like in Mario Kart 8, having an additional 16 tracks in that was pretty cool. And you cannot deny that having Cloud in Smash Bros. Is fan service at its finest. Of course, the costumes in Smash Bros. Were kinda lame, especially that Geno costume. Most requested character ever! You're just given a costume. So, yeah, Nintendo's track record with DLC isn't perfect. But overall, if Nintendo wants to include DLC in Breath of the Wild, I really see no reason for them not to. I just think the announcement was too soon.